Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? Are you covered in shame and despair to discover your YouTube is clotted with hair? And there's things that are not shouldn't be there. Well, ladies and gentlemen, from now on you'll get a Q&A from G. It'll be a remarkable source because I really can't spoof Sweeney Todd well on the fly. Hey guys, this is Gotta Love Breath, and this is the first Q&A segment, which shall now be titled Ask Dr. Breath. I'm kind of like the Dr. Phil of anime, except, you know, I'm a lot more reliable than Dr. Phil, and I'll probably give you better advice than Dr. Phil. Before we get this whole thing started, I just want to say this is a Q&A for people who want to send me weird questions. If you want to send me serious questions, weird questions, dumb questions, WTF questions, just send them away just as long as they're not too terribly twisted. So let's get this show on the road and go to the first question. Duke Nukem 3DO asks, what do you like better, Studio Madhouse or Bones? Well, to be perfectly honest, choosing between the two is insanely difficult, as both Madhouse and Bones have made some truly fantastic shows over the year. So I kind of have to measure these up in a sort of weird kind of fashion. Okay, Studio Madhouse, shows that come up like right off the top of my head. Cardcaptor Sakura, Gunslinger Girl, and Death Note. There's probably more than that I can't think of at the moment, but those are the ones that immediately come off the top of my head. Studio Bones, Full Metal Alchemist, Eureka 7, Orin High School Host Club, Daughter of 20 Faces, which I've only seen 3 or 4 episodes of, but it was still fantastic. And probably, again, some others that I can't remember. When measured up to each other, I honestly have to go with Studio Bones. While I adore Gunslinger Girl, my favorite Madhouse anime by far, because it's just so twisted and so wonderfully wacky, to be honest, I really didn't like their adaptation of Death Note. I have a lot of the same problems with the Death Note adaptation that seems to plague a lot of people when it comes to the new Watchmen movie, which is being true to the events of the source material does not necessarily make it faithful in spirit. The focus in the Death Note adaptation didn't seem to be in the right places. It seemed like they focused too much on the melodramatic aspects of Death Note, or emphasized melodramatic aspects that really weren't there, rather than, for me, Death Note is more intellectual, and it should be focused more on the brain twisting elements of it, which is still there. It's just that they always feel like they have to add this really melodramatic music, and it just didn't work for me. I thought it was good. No, don't get me wrong. I can watch it and I enjoy it. It's just I didn't think it was an excellent adaptation of Death Note, the comic. I love both studios, but if I had to pick and choose, I'd go with Bones because FMA is honestly one of my favorite anime of all time. So is Orin High School Host Club, Eureka 7. I mean, all of the ones that I had listed earlier are all classics in my mind. Studio Madhouse has made numerous classics themselves, but not a lot of them hit quite as close to home as Studio Bones did. Host Club for the win! Kiss, kiss, fall in love. A. Okay, SeaMonsterAlchemist asks, what is the meaning of life? Question mark, exclamation mark. Also, how do I get out of my I can't post to YouTube, I'm too busy with swimming and water polo and homework, oh woe is me rut? Answer me, man. She typed most of this in all caps, by the way, so stop yelling at me. Sorry, when I see all caps, I always have a really belligerent voice ringing in my head. It just doesn't work. You sound like really anger-filled. You should calm down when you ask her questions. No all caps. And yay, SeaMonsterAlchemist sent me a question. For those all of you who don't know, I am a huge SeaMonsterAlchemist fan. She is freaking amazing. If you haven't checked out her channel already, you should do so. And probably if you're subscribed to my channel, you probably run into her channel once or twice before. But she has some great blogs. She hardly ever updates, but she has some of the best anime blogs on YouTube, in my opinion. But seriously, SeaMonsterAlchemist, if you're too busy, you're too busy. I mean, real life beckons. However, if you do have the time and you're just trying to find your way around a rough schedule, I would suggest just blogging. Don't prepare for it. Just blog. Just record whatever comes to mind. Either that or record a minute or two every day or so. And by the end of the week, splice all of those clips together and you'll have a beautiful collage of randomness that will maybe not flow so great, but at least your subscribers will get a new video from you every once in a while. It's a really effective method if you're that short on time. But honestly, it's just a matter of just doing the blogging. Just do it. If you want to blog, blog. Don't be too professional about it. Don't think, feel, just blog. Doesn't take up too much time if you just let yourself go. Be free, little alchemist. Be free. Remember what Yoda said. Do or do not. There is no try. When it comes to the meaning of life question, though, I would say that's different for different people. As for myself, the meaning of my life at the moment is to find the meaning of my life, basically. When I look at it, when you're pondering the meaning of life, it's kind of pointless. Really, for me, I would much rather just give it my all while trying to enjoy giving it my all. That's difficult enough without trying to convolute it with meaning, trying to harness yourself the best that you can. Life itself is meaningless and pointless. It's what we do with the life that is given to us that gives it meaning. Remember that, my child. May you pass it on to future generations. Be wise like the GLB. Okay, so now that I'm officially like a freak, let's go to Fat Nick 21's question. What is your ideal way to kill yourself if you are not afraid of dying? He also mentioned something else that I kind of skipped over because it was a bit too crude for my family-oriented programming. This is a really tough one, though, since I would want my death to be rather painless. I mean, think about it. You don't want to draw things out too much, but yet all the fun ways of killing myself would most likely involve other people. Not that I'm saying killing myself would be fun, but some of the more creative ways that come to mind would deeply affect those around me. But if I had to really choose, I would probably say that shooting myself right at the end of Space Mountain at Disneyland would be pretty funny. I mean, could you imagine, like, the car pulling in and right when it takes your photo and it, like, blinds you, you just pull the trigger. And when people walk out of the ride, they walk up and they see a picture of a gun against your head and, like, your brain spraying across the people next to you. That's so freaking cool. That would be a cool way to go. But, again, you're affecting other people, and that's not right. But it would be so cool, though. For one thing, whenever I'm on Space Mountain, it always kind of reminds me of a heavenly divine experience. Don't ask me why, but when I'm on Space Mountain, it's like, I bet when you're dying, and if you were a good soul and you're traveling to heaven, it would feel a lot like Space Mountain. When I'm on that ride, it feels like an out-of-body experience to me. So that would be a cool way to go. It's like, if I was going to kill myself, I would shoot myself on Space Mountain if there's nobody else in the car. Good times, good times. But honestly, I would just go with shooting myself most likely. Either that or something to do with pills, medications, an overdose of some kind. Personally, jumping off a building is a horrible way to go. You obviously want a lot of attention then, and I really don't want anyone to know about it right away. That were to assume I were single, though. Because if I were married or shacked up with somebody, this is a tough one then. Then I think I'd make it look like an accident somehow. You don't want them to know that you killed yourself. So I don't know how you would set that up, though. That would be, if you didn't want your wife to know, or the chick that you were shacked up with to know, how would you kill yourself in a way that would not hint towards the fact that you had killed yourself? See what you made me do? You made me talk about something I would never do, and now that I think about doing it, I feel really creepy and morbid. So in response, I'm just going to come up with some really crazy way of dying, just for me. I would date a Yuki Nagano cosplayer and spend my last night in this world with her. Then I would drive out to the Skywalker Ranch and slap George Lucas for the midi-chlorians. That's the thing that I would slap him the most about, among other things. Then I would go back to the Yuki Nagano cosplayer for a night because, you don't want to let a good thing down. Then I would meet Christopher Nolan and force him to hug me. And then I would feel so good, most likely, that actually I wouldn't even kill myself after that point. I'd be in such a state of bliss. But let's just say that I wanted to. Then I would fire a bullet into my brain right at the end of Space Mountain. Getting a gun into Disneyland, on the other hand, that would be the real challenge. I don't know what you do. You probably had to pull a Jedi mind trick on security or something. Let me see the inside of your jacket. You don't need to see the inside of my jacket. We don't need to see the inside of your jacket. I totally don't have a gun with me. He totally doesn't have a gun with him, even though it's a pistol. Even though it's a pistol. Wait, that means you have a gun on you. I don't have a gun on me. I am totally not thinking about shooting myself while on Space Mountain. But seriously, the fact that I answered this question makes me feel really creepy, and darn you, Fat Nick, for making me answer it. People, seriously, don't go killing yourselves. It's a really stupid thing to do. This is Got a Little Breath, and I am signing out. Send me more questions. I would love to get more WTF questions, some more serious questions, and pretty much anything else you can throw at me. I think this is going to be a lot of fun. Peace, love, and Yuki Nagdo, whom I am smooching right now. Mwah. Talk to you guys later.